Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Happy Friday. Um, I wanted to share some experiences that I had. In all this time, when I spend a lot of time in solitude, I have a lot of my thoughts are really much deeper. They're more, I guess, for lack of a better word, eternal thoughts. Just a lot more connection with Creator and with who I am, and just really trying to understand the world around me in a more meaningful way. And it's funny because for a long time it seemed like um, you know I would talk with people, and the conversations a lot of times would resonate around things like politics and problems in life, and all of the things that that go through one's mind. um, and I sat and I talked with Creator, and I was like, why is it that I can't have deeper discussions with people? And Creator essentially told me, well, Anthony, part of that is because you have that expectation that that's not going to happen, or you have the expectation that people don't want to discuss that, and so you don't you aren't the universe doesn't present you with the opportunities to have those deeper discussions. And I kind of took that bit of information, and I thought, yeah, you're right. That's you're The world around me is reflecting to me what I believe is there versus what I want to be there. And so I really kind of reframed my thought on that, and something amazing happened yesterday. I was sitting in a little restaurant that I go to a lot. I know the people well, and know the owners. Gotten to know them over a period of time, and one of the folks came up to me, and he started talking to me. He's like, I've been reading up on this thing called the 5D. And I laughed, and I was like, okay. For those of you who don't know from a spiritual perspective what the 5D is it's known by many different things in many cultures and religions. It's heaven, it's nirvana, it's Valhalla. I mean, all of these things are used to describe the 5D. And so, we started to have this very deep conversation about, kind of the things he's been looking at, and then the things I've been presented and been blessed to experience. And that led to his parents coming out and joining the conversation, and his brother coming out, and it was this conversation between the five of us. And I felt blessed. They were asking my experiences and my thoughts around different things, and I was just really kind of having conversations with them about the different things that I've been shown, and I've been blessed to be able to see. And it was just absolutely amazing. One of them, the parents obviously are older, and they've grown up more in the Christian religion, and it was interesting because even the father was really kind of being open to the discussion. And I could sense some hesitancy and some resistance, and kind of bring in belief systems that he had learned over his lifetime. And it was a very interesting conversation. I said, look, I'm not here to push my beliefs on you. All I can do is share with you my experiences. And I said, I share those just so that we can have some sort of interaction, because what I've been shown is that's how we learn, that's how we really grow in life. When two souls connect, information that is soulful information is carried through to your mind, and it allows your soul then to just almost uncover that understanding, because now you're presented with something that is a spiritual truth or a universal law. And there have been many times where I've read a book, or I've had a conversation with somebody where they've said something, and my inclination isn't to argue, or it's been, man, I know that. Why do I know that? And it's not I know more than you. It's just really like it's strange. It's this almost like this feeling of the information was just put there, and now you're able to access it, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. And those are really amazing experiences. So I told him, in this interaction, there are things I'm sharing, but there may be things that your soul may share that I wasn't privy to, that might open my eyes up. And so, I mean, that conversation went on for probably an hour and a half. It was amazing, and I was very blessed to be there for it. But this morning, as I sat back and I thought about all the things that are around us, all the things that are presented around us, the opportunities and the miracles, and the things that the universe really does bring you, the things that you desire. And as long as, when you align yourself with what you want, and you stop focusing on the things that you don't want, what you find is the things that you want start gravitating to you a lot more in your life. When you realize that there is no lack, when you come to that belief and that understanding that there is no lack, that your mind is what creates the lack, the stories that you've been told is what creates the lack, all of the things that you've chosen to attach yourself to is what is creating all of the lack in your life. And when you pull yourself away from all those things, you realize there is no lack. We've talked about, how when I lived in the other world, I guess I will say, when I was strictly of my mind and I really wasn't connected, how my experiences presented that to me, and how when I did become aware of my consciousness, I got this inclination to sell everything, and how it felt like when all those things left, like it was a weight lifted off my shoulders. And I had that conversation yesterday with this gentleman. He was talking about, well, I'd love to have more money. And I said, well, what would you do with more money? Well, I'd buy this and this and this. And I said, do those things make you happy? Because happiness doesn't come from things, it comes from yourself. Now, things that you have in your life can help bring pleasure, but they can't bring happiness. And I think the problem we have is we're on a hamster wheel in life, where the hamster wheel is, I've always got to chase pleasure. I've always got to chase pleasure. Well, if I have this, then it'll make me happy. If I have this, it'll make me happy. And what you learn on this journey is that having something isn't what's going to make you happy. Now, it may make your life easier, or it may present other experiences, but it doesn't make you happy. In fact, the richest people I know are the most fearful people that I know, because they're afraid they're going to lose what they have. They're afraid they're going to, sorry, I hear this little woodpecker, and they're amazing. They're only about like that big, but they make a lot of noise. They're afraid of what they're going to lose, and so they want to control everything around them, and they want to live in this fear. You want a perfect example of that there is no such thing as lack? Your soul is part of Creator. It is the energy of Creator, so it is eternal. But in this illusion of the world, energy always has to move, and energy always recycles. Think about that. It always has to move, and it always recycles. Well, what do you mean by that, Anthony? Well, it's a cycle of birth, life, and death. Birth, life, and death. From death comes rebirth. When you die, and and the being that you are decays into the ground, although we put ourselves in boxes, so we allow that less now. But you decay back into the ground, and that creates new life around us. So the energy doesn't ever die. It just continues to recycle. So think about that from a life perspective. If energy never dies and it continues to recycle, then there is no lack. Then things are always being created. Then you can always create things in your life. The only thing that creates lack is your mind telling you that you are in lack. But it's not telling you you're in lack from what you don't have. It's pointing you to that you're in lack because you're not connected with something inside. For me, that was with Creator. For most people, that's with Creator. That's with themselves. That's with who they truly are. So as you go on this journey, think about those things. People tell me all the time, all these things around me, all these solid things around me that, this is life. This is what life is. And I retort and say, no, that's actually an illusion. Your mind just tells you that that's there, but it's really not there. And they laugh at me. And I said, okay, well, let me give you an example. Yogis can go in a meditative state and they can walk over hot coals, yet the body doesn't get burned. It creates, it's just like walking over dirt, because they connect with Creator. They go into that state of being Creator, and they lock the mind out of believing that the coals are going to burn their feet. Now, I don't, people will say, well, then why don't you do that, Anthony? Well, it's not on my path. I mean, for those of you who are Christians, Jesus told, Jesus chose to allow himself to, be crucified. That's not the path I choose. I mean, I grew up in a martyrdom mentality, a martyrdom mentality, and it's not what I would choose in my life anymore, because I see that that's not what is being asked of me. So I'm only pointing that to you just so you can see that, when you take yourself out of the mind and the belief that something is a certain way, it can't hurt you. You can't be hurt by it, because you understand that you're an eternal being and this is an illusion, and that these things around you, your mind is created to make you believe that they're real. When you look at a lot of, even like in Buddhism talks about not resisting, okay, accepting and not resisting, going with the flow. Taoism talks about it as well, going with the flow of life. What does that mean? What that means is when you are just your soul, when you are that translucent energy being that you actually are, when you're not incarnated in your body, you just flow in the universe. You're like water, you're energy. You're like water, and you just flow in the universe. There's nothing that creates resistance. It's all flow. When we come into this body, things appear to be hard, solid, and so we say, okay, I have to push this out of the way. That's because we now believe that, okay, that there's resistance, so I have to push that out of the way. But all of this stuff around us is all created by the energy of Creator. Creator created all of this stuff around us, which means that everything that exists around us is energy, and it is of intelligent energy. And if it's of intelligent energy, then it can be interacted with in that manner, just like you might interact with Creator. Now, that's way, way down the line, understand. Very few people have had that ability, power on this plane to be able to do those things. But with enough practice, those things can be done. And it's just understanding the illusion that you're in and how you interact with that illusion. So I share all this with you. I'll give you a little insight into how my mornings go, because these are all discussions that my ego, my mind has with my soul. And these are all things that, I begin to understand on this journey. And as I posted this morning about, being on this 1,000-mile journey and realizing it's really not the journey. It's not the distance in the journey. It's not a destination I'm reaching. It's the experiences in life. So for those of you who feel like I need to be rich and I need to have all these things around me, let me ask you this question, just something to ponder. When you are rich and you die, there's that old saying, you can't take it with you. So all of these items, they just stay here and they go away, and you go on to your next incarnation. However, most religions talk about what happens in the time right after your death, and a lot of them talk about your life flashes before your eyes, or you review your life. Well, what are you reviewing? Are you reviewing all the things that you had? Or are you reviewing all of the experiences that you had? That's what life is really about. It's not about acquiring houses and relationships and boats and cars, and it's about all of the experiences that you've had, how you've grown, what you've learned, what you've co-created with the universe. When you think of life like that, it really does change and evolve the way you look at everything around you. That being said, I'm going to let you go. I hope everyone has a blessed weekend. It's amazing to be able to not only experience myself, but throughout this journey, but also be able to share the things that I've learned with you and have some of these conversations with you. So I'm blessed to have you all in my life. Thank you very much. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk with you again soon. Thank you. Bye.